level of disrespect in my intro. I can't even explain it.
Okay.
First off, you got me on Throwback Thursday. That's a nice little under the table way of calling me an old head. Secondly,
Yeah.
you said Ashley Larry before Donnell. That's another way of another level of disrespect, saying my skin is moisturally challenged.
Yes.
And then you give this perception that you're a nice guy. And then you say, well, the last time he was in studio, but the level of disrespect I'm getting on the phone, why would I come back in the studio?
You know what? Hey,
Wow.
I stand corrected. All those points were very, very valid, my friend.
They were.
But welcome back, man. And we so excited to have you. You're going to be in Raleigh, of course, at Good Nights on January 6th tomorrow night. And, of course, on Saturday night, man.
Right.
Matter of fact, the Saturday night show, I think the 7 o'clock show is already sold out. So you're excited to be coming back to Raleigh.
Oh, yeah. When I first started comedy years ago, that was one of the sought-after spots for comedy, especially on the East Coast. At that time, it was called Charlie Goodnight.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
And they got different management. They changed it to Good Nights. I'm not sure. I may be wrong, but I understand that they still have the name, but they're in a different space because they sold that original building. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, that's correct. They're in a place called they're at the Village District.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pop up right now because they're building a new facility, but it's a real nice facility where they are. Actually, it used to be like the K&S cafeteria,
Right?
what it used to be, but now it's pop up and but it's really good. So you're gonna be excited when you get over there.
Oh yeah, but like again, going back to my relationship with Raleigh back then, it was a good time. It was one of the best comedy places to perform. And then I found out over years they have some of the best fans and audience members that come down there. I haven't been there. I think I skipped it like the last couple of years because of the pandemic.
Yep.
But I'm excited to come back. Whenever I go down there, the food is good, the people is good. We always have a good time, and I love Raleigh.
Awesome. We are talking to actor, comedian Donnell Rawlings, who will be at Good Nights.
That's respect.
Well, okay, I got it, man. I got it.
Learn from your co-host. You see the tone, her voice sounded almost like she was a CNN journalist. Man. That's who I need to talk to.
She's very, very good.
Oh, wow. Now I'm going to feel bad, Donnell, about my first question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because there's no disrespect, but I just have to know because I wasn't here when you came in before. So I have to know, like, how did you get the name Ashy Larry? I mean,
well, when we did the Chappelle show years ago on the script, the guy wasn't Ashy; he was just Larry. But when I was on that show, if you have an editor, just edit every time I spoke in that show, probably fill a timeline up to 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really that vocal, but I had to be very expressive with my body language, and then what I did with the characters. So when I first saw this, when I first saw it on paper, it read a guy in like his underwear and dress shoes, and I was like, when I was younger, I used to shoot dice, and my mother used to catch me. She was like, "You been out there shooting dice?" I was like, I'll be like, "No." She like, "Why your knees so ashy?" So that kind of like went off a light bulb. I said, let me make this character so ashy.
That's right.
That I could write how much money people owe me on the side of my leg. And I didn't tell Dave, I didn't tell Neil Brennan, I didn't tell the director at the time what I was going to do. I went to the makeup department and I had a robe on and I said, "Give me some baby powder. I'm about to ash myself up." And the minute I took that robe off and blew it to my hand and that powder came out, a hood legend was born.
Exactly.
He was Larry, and I added the ash to him. But at the same time, when I go out in public sometime, and I'm a dark-skinned guy, so, it's kind of hard to say moisturizer. Yeah. People have come up to me like, "Damn, dude, you really are living out this character."
That's real shade right there.
Well, let me get this right. So we're excited to be talking to Donnell Rawlings, who's going to be in Raleigh this weekend.
You sound like a hostage.
Being made to say that.
That's right.
Why don't you blink 2 times if you're okay, man?
If I'm okay. He's going to be here tomorrow, 7:30 and 10. Of course, Saturday night as well, 7:30 and 10. Man, you're doing big things. You got a Netflix special getting ready to come out. Talk about that a little bit, if you will.
Well, Chappelle, who's a good friend of mine, anybody that knows me and my relationship with Dave, they know that we've been friends for over 30 years. So a couple of years ago, it started when we were doing shows in the cornfield during the pandemic. Like every night I would go up there and I would rip the room. And I never asked Dave to produce a special for me. He was like, I want to produce your special. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So he started this series called The Home Team, which Earthquake was the first person out the gate. My special will be the next one. I think Lunell is going to be another one.
Oh, yeah.
And another fan favorite down in Raleigh and the East Coast, Tony Woods, is going to do it.
Yep.
So we already got the deal in place. I'm just trying to figure out what location I want to shoot it in, and then get it right. Because last year at the Fillmore Theater in Charlotte, we took a stab at this special, and I ripped this special in half. I got a standing O, and I had an air date with Netflix, and a week before the special was supposed to drop, Dave calls me and he tells me he wants to do it again. And to which I said, how do I go from chest bumping Stan Lathan to doing a high five to ripping the room to you want to do it again?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and I encourage people to hear people out and be open for constructive criticism, right?
Yeah.
And then he told me, he said, Donnell, don't get me wrong. I could put you in front of any audience any day and you will rip the room in half. He said, but it doesn't make it a great special. And then I asked him, I said, okay, I need a little bit more information. And it made everything he said made a lot of sense. When we shot it at the Fillmore, it was at a time where we were still dealing with all these COVID protocol and everything. So the audience that we had booked, we lost half of that audience due to not having vax cards. And the energy just wasn't right. I had to stand up and still do it, but it wasn't the ideal situation for somebody recording something that could pretty much change their life. And another point Dave made was that a lot of the jokes I did were COVID related, which means that it would have instantly dated itself as not a classic.
Right.
You know?
Got it.
So with that said, and another thing, my money was already in the bank, so we could do this every
I know that's right.
I don't really
Like
care
that.
about that part of it. But I had to step back and say, because Dave said, ultimately, it's your decision, Donnell, if you want to drop it. He said, but keep in mind, my name was on it. So I wasn't like, I want to drop it now. I didn't get over anxious. I've been lucky enough and blessed to have some other things that I do that keep me, as the kids, the TikTok people would say, keep me relevant and everything. So I said, take a step back, keep building your brand, and then when the time is right, the time will be right. And going back to what my mother is a believer in God, like, and a lot of people should, a lot of people don't. But everything she says is, look at God. And
Look at God.
And she say that God.
Look at God. Look at God.
WD. Look at God. Won't he do it?
He sure will.
Won't he do it? Yes, he will.
And she always tells me that everything happens for a reason.
That's
So
right.
with that said, I fell back, and I'm when I tell people I'm blessed, people always say, Donnell, what is your goal? What are your dreams? I used to work with a comic that was based down there called Just June years ago.
Yep.
And she's a legend, right? R.I.P. And one day we were on the road, and she would say, Donnell, what's your dream? I said, that's what anybody in this business would say. I want to have a sitcom. I want to be a movie star. She said, Donnell, so she said, we already live in a dream. To be able to wake up every morning, you know, and you are making a good living for yourself off of a God-given talent, you got to take it for that. I don't play by anybody else's rules. I punch my own clock, and I'm not knocking anybody to punch a clock because I used to do it. I know that creates good lifestyles for a lot of people, but I really feel blessed knowing that when I wake up in the morning, I'm doing something that I love.
Sure.
And not one day have I been doing this for 30 years that I ever felt like it was work.
That's good.
That's
good. We are talking to
that's awesome.
actor, comedian. He's a force in comedy, Donnell Rawlings, who will be at Good Nights on this Friday and Saturday night. So, Donnell, can you tell us what we can expect? Why should they come out this weekend?
Well, you should come out if you've been following me. Can you hear me?
Yes,
If you've been following me for 30 years, and I'm going back for people who used to see me in the original Charlie Goodnight, you know how passionate I'm about performing. That one of the best compliments I've got over years of doing is that I've seen this guy 5 or 6 times. He always switches his material up. There's always something fresh. You know, I'm not going to trick you and say that I'm a squeaky clean comic, but at the same time, I'm not a crass comic either. So you're gonna get some edgy comedy. You're gonna get comedy from someone that does not adhere to cancel culture. I'm not here to offend anybody, but I make funny observations about troubling things in our world, and we have a good time talking about it.
Awesome.
And if you have a problem understanding that, and this is the thing that I don't understand why when people go to comedy shows and they're like, well, I didn't know what to expect. You can Google me and get a sense of what I do, what I've been doing for years. And at the end of the day, all I want to do is have a good time with some good people.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's good.
That's
Good
so
stuff.
special. We're going to get out and check you out, man. Thank you so much, as always, showing us some love. And we really want to support you and get out there and check out. It's going to be a great show. Again, tomorrow night and Saturday night, man. Appreciate you, brother. Much love to you hanging out with us here on the Sports Show.
I got some lotion.
All right. I knew it. I was doing it.